Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk. Forget about it. Oh! Welcome, everybody, to Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk with Sage Brothers. I'm Rick.
I'm Ed. From the borough to the big leagues.
We're your brothers in sports talk. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk. This weekend we had a triple header plus a Monday nighter. Out of the triple header, we had basically one tight one, and the rest were kind of like lopsided. But the third one with the Bucks and the Commanders, they're exciting to the last second. But before we talk about those games, this episode is brought to you by the Tilted Trailer. For those inclined to tow. Now remember, the Tilted Trailer is your go-to solution for trailer rentals in the area of New Jersey. Trust us for reliable services trailers. Contact Scott for services. He's the owner. I'm sure if you need something transported, call Tilted Trailer. Check out their website. I'm sure they have something for your towing needs. But be sure to mention this podcast, Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk. All right, so let's get into the games this past weekend.
Well, game one, you had the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. I thought it was going to be a blowout, and it was. The final score was 31-7. Too much Josh Allen like I thought. Josh Allen had 272 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. He also rushed for 46 yards. James Cook was the story of the game. He had 120 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Now the Broncos, even though Bo Nix didn't really turn the ball over, he really didn't have such a great game. He only passed for 144 yards and a touchdown. And also, he led the team in rushing with 43 yards. Right there, you knew the game was going in the Bills' direction.
Yeah, they kind of tricked us. In the first half, it was 10-7 Broncos, but that was just a fallacy. That was not – we both predicted the Bills would crush them. Scores were kind of close, and the Bills did that. They crushed them. You have the Packers versus the Eagles. Now, Jalen Hurts, I mean, he put a hurting on this damn team. I mean, the Packers had no chance. So Jalen Hurts, his numbers were 13 of 21, completion percentage of 61%. He had 131 yards and 2 TDs, not bad. Plus he had a quarterback rating of 116. Now this game was domination throughout. The first half, the Eagles were winning 10-0. Packers had no answers for anything. Second half, it was close, a 12-10 score. But in the end, you don't play halves, you play a whole game. So the final score of that game was 22-10. Josh Love threw 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Now in Philly, it was cold, loud, and proud bunch of fans there. So it was bad to play in Philadelphia, but the game was over before it began, and the Eagles moved on.
I had the Eagles as well. I knew it was going to be a blowout. It was, again, they had Josh Love, they kind of confused him out there. But, again, that's why we thought the Eagles would come out on top. Too much Hurts, Barkley, defense at home. The third game, close game as we thought it would be. I did have the Bucks coming out on top, but unfortunately the Commanders did. I feel bad for Mayfield. He really didn't have that much of a passing game. He threw only for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Bruce Irving had 77 yards total rushing. But the key play of the game came down to it with the score 20-20. Mayfield faked an end around, and he fumbled the ball and got the Commanders the ball, and that's the story of the game. That pretty much. I
mean, I had the Bandits. Thinking about the UFL, I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. I mean, the score was tied in the first half, 10-10. We didn't know where this game was going. I had the Bucs as well, but unfortunately, a couple of bonehead plays. It's all about turnovers, right? So I know Mayfield went back. I know the communication. He bumped it to a rookie receiver, Jalen McMillan. He's dropping passes all day. He wasn't really, I don't know why they went back to him in the running game, because he has speed. They probably wanted to use him. He turned around. McMillan was there already, bumped into him. He tried to pull the ball back, fumble, a gift right back to the Commanders. And with, Commanders, Daniels, a quarterback, he's been doing great this year. You knew this game was over. All he had to do is drive down a little bit. They have their confidence in their kicker. Even though he doinked it, it still went in, and the Commanders wound up winning and then moving on as well.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to the Commanders' first year coach. Getting his first Dan Quinn, his first playoff victory, former Dallas defense coordinator, first-year coach for the Commanders. I just wish that the game plan was more of Mike Evans, because he had 7 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown, and he was, he was pretty much dominating anybody they put on him. I'm surprised they went away from him. They should have kept going to him and targeting him a lot more. I know that there's some gadget plays they were looking for, but again, I just thought they should have went to Mike Evans more. He was pretty much like 7-Eleven, open all day.
You're right, 24 hours a day. You're right about that, but I guess going into the locker room, second half, you think he would motivate the team and change the game plan. But you're right, it was stagnant, a couple bonehead plays. I just think that, me personally, a lot of people he's going to catch a lot of flack, Baker Mayfield, because of that fumble. But to me, Jalen McMillan, the rookie, was the problem. He came running around too fast. As he turned around, he bumped into him. He tried to take the ball back because he didn't take the ball. That was the play. So the rookie maybe didn't know what he was doing, but I don't blame Baker Mayfield on that one. A lot of people do, but I love him. I feel bad for him, like you said before.
But if I may say this, let's give Daniels some credit where credit's due. He was 24 for 35 with 258 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over. Exactly. He also rushed for 36 yards. Even that didn't really have too much of a running game, so to speak, as far as in yards and chunks. He did lead the team in rushing yards. So, good rookie coming on top. Away game. I know it was nice weather out there in Tampa, but an away game, he came out on top. He didn't make the rookie mistakes, and he came out on top. And again, I'm pretty happy, I guess, for the rookie coming out on top in the red.
I'm happy for him, too. Like you said, he's a rookie. So he didn't, I wouldn't expect him to be so poised. But he played like a veteran. He's got some skills and he's got poise. He moved the team down the field when it counted. So let's give him props. He's going to go a long way and be a star in this league. You're right about that.
I think so. Now in the next game.
Yeah, it was a Monday night game. I picked the winner on this one. I had the LA Rams.
I had the Vikings, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you were falling in love with the facade of Sam Darnold. Anyway, now the Monday night game, it was moved to Arizona Stadium where the Cardinals play due to the devastation of the fires in LA. So thank you to the NFL and Arizona Cardinals for making this game and showcasing it for us fans and supporting the LA fans, due to that devastation. Now this game was lopsided. LA's D was amazing. I've never seen him play this way.
I'm surprised.
Even though it was like the first half, pretty much LA dominated anyway. So it's, the first half.
They have 9 sacks?
3. They had 9 sacks. Most of them in the second half. Amazing. Monster game.
Well, Donald really didn't have that much time to throw. He was 25 for 40 for 245 yards. He had a touchdown, but he also had a pick. And they couldn't get the running game going. They had 13 carries for 48 yards. Jones had that on the Vikings, and they pretty much contained the running game. They were saying, hey, listen, Donald, come beat us. And he wasn't able to.
Yeah. LA's D, they had a great game plan. They were so dominant. I've seen they felt like the most dominant D in all of NFL. That was like a display of brilliance. Let's give him props, defensive coordinator and all that. But with Sam Darnold, I do feel bad for him because he was a Jet. And with the Jets come, you get bad luck. But since he played for Minnesota, he did win 14 games. But in this game, it was rough, tough. He fell to the turf and got rug burns all day, had no chance with 9 sacks from the Rams. So the Rams move on, but they have to travel, guess where? They have to travel to Philly, where it's really hostile, volatile, and too damn cold. What do you think about
Darnold? Well, you don't forget this. Darnold, he's a free agent next year. A lot of teams are looking at him. I would say maybe his stock dropped a little, but with all the free agent quarterbacks out there next year, I still think he'll get paid. But going to next week's games, you got Saturday games. We have 2 Saturday games and 2 Sunday games. Right. I'll start off the Saturday games. You got the Texans going down to the Chiefs. If you remember last year, they played one another in the playoffs with the Chiefs obviously coming out on top. I think the same beholds this year. The Chiefs, close game. I'm not going to predict any score, but I have the Chiefs coming out on top over the Texans. And in the second game, you got the Commanders versus the Lions. Too much golf. I think they'll be able to pass and they'll be able to run the ball. A lot of play action. But again, there's too much firepower with the Lions to where I don't believe the Commanders will be able to stop them. And I believe that the Lions defense will contain Daniels. again, they're not going to, look to see where they'll have a running game. I think the Commanders, but I think that they'll contain Daniels and they'll come out on top in blowout fashion. You heard it, a blowout fashion. I believe. Here, I'm going to predict one score. I got the Lions 35, and I got the Commanders 14.
So the Saturday matchups with the Texans and KC. Of course, I got KC winning as well. I just think, believe it or not, I know I sound like a crybaby, but the refs always give the KC when they're playing home. They give them all these calls and stuff. So even though the Texans, we don't know who's going to show up. So whichever team shows up could be either a really tight game or a blowout. It could be KC blowing them out. In the second game, the Commanders versus the Lions. I have the Lions as well. I mean, Lions are home. They're dominant. I was really rooting for them because, our teams are not in the playoffs. They're in the toilet bowl, really. And these teams have a chance to play in the Super Bowl. So I'm really rooting for the Lions and Michigan City of Detroit, which they suffered a lot. So I want the Lions to win to make it to the Super Bowl. And I think they'll do just that. Daniels will play good, but the Lions are home. They're going to dominate. Now, we have Sunday games. We have the NFC game. We have the Rams going over to the Eagles. Now, that game have the Eagles winning because they're playing at home. Remember, they have the fans. They have the cold. And the Rams, they just came from a warm place. They play in L.A., but then they played in Arizona. And it was, they're going to have a difficult time
indoors
in Philly. Right?
Indoor game they had.
Indoors,
and don't forget, I think the Eagles, too much Hurts. Between Hurts and Barkley and Brown, I think they're going to be able to pull this out. And I think that, again, here goes another one. I got the Eagles blowing them out. That's my opinion. I got the Eagles 35. I got the Rams 10.
Okay. I'm not going to go to scores, but with this game, it all depends on the Rams' defense. Can they duplicate the defense they had this past weekend? Can they stop the run game? I know this, Saquon Barkley, you can't. The guy is amazing, but remember last week, he only got 100 yards in garbage time at the end. They gave him a couple of, rushing plays. So it wasn't that he had a great game, but we'll see what happens with the Rams' defense. If they could get to Hurts, but remember, Hurts can run as well, so they got a dual threat. So we don't know what's going to happen in that game. It all depends on what the Rams could do, but it's going to be cold, and like I said, I have the Eagles as well. I think it's going to be a close one. I don't have a score yet, but thinking about that. But the next game, the AFC, Ravens versus the Bills. Now, if I was a betting man, I would stay away from this game, but I got the Bills winning a tight one, but who knows? This is pretty much a coin flip because you got a dual threat in the Ravens. You got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. The Bills, They just got to play good defense. They got to contain them. If their game plan is good on the run game, I'm sure secondary will take care of business there. That's why I still have the Bills in this tight one. I don't know what you got.
I got the Bills in the tight one as well. I think the Bills, in my opinion, if the Bills, I'm rooting for them all the way. I'm rooting for them to go all the way to the Super Bowl. They're not going to be able to. They won't be able to stop Henry as long as they contain him, gang tackle, and not miss any. Let them get to the second and third layer.
Yeah, 75, 80 yards.
And I think Josh Allen, not turn the ball over, do what he does best, hit the open guys, and I think they'll be able to come out on top. I like the Bills in a close one as well.
That's going to be a good game, but this weekend should be nice. Well, thanks, everyone. This has been an NFL edition of the Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk podcast. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It does help us out being a new podcast here on YouTube.
We're the Sage Brothers. Brooklyn Sports Talk. We're out.
We're out. Ciao.
Ciao.
Brooklyn Brothers Sports Talk. Forget about it. Oh.